week, another record price for the Cell token. I mean, it's just rocketing. And I think a lot of excitement, a lot of new users. Um, Obviously, record deposits. If anything, we're accelerating faster and faster. And really wanted to thank the community for having this amazing support and trust in the Celsius network. So I wanted to talk about a few things. And, I think, if you look at the Forbes 400, right, if you look at the people there who are the pillars of the American economy, many of them have created their wealth through either giving you sugar water or giving you processed food, like things that are not really good for you, right? Or, hurting the earth and mining stuff or getting oil out of the ground or whatever, right? Very, very few of the people on that list basically did good or created a lot of good for people and then created wealth, right? And so it's much harder. My point is it's much harder to do good and then do well, right? It requires much more work, and it requires a unique and original idea. So, and we talked about this a little bit in the previous AMAs, but the blockchain really, the crypto in specific, is the opportunity, right? It kind of created a whole new set of doors or opportunities that were not available before. And Celsius may be one example, but I think you will see over the next several years many such opportunities emerge. Meaning, we're just at the first few innings, right? We may have caught one example and started scaling it, but the opportunity to really reinvent the financial economy, to reinvent many aspects of our life, and do it in a way that I described, where you're effectively doing good before you do well, is, I think, the new paradigm. It is going to be the new way that if you look at the Forbes list, if they even exist, 10 or 20 years from now, I think you're going to see many, many more companies like that, and less and less and less companies that are just creating their wealth despite the fact that they're hurting people or hurting the planet. So I think, if you look at Cell token, it's one of the best performing cryptos across the board, right? I'll share a screen here to put things in perspective if you have not been watching stuff. So this is the CoinGecko website. You can go look at it yourself, right? You can pull the stats from there yourself. And you can see that no matter what you look at, if it's 1 year or 30 days or 14 days or 24 hours, Cell token is performing exceptionally well. And these numbers are not just, like, we're not talking about just 1,000% in dollars. If you compare this to Bitcoin, you would see that Celsius has done over 1,000% better, 10 times better than if you held your coins in Bitcoin. So, and the reason for that is, again, is just the flywheel that we talked about, right? Is this amazing thing that allows Celsius to perform, to continue to perform and create value as long as we have more users, more subscribers, and more deposits or more assets, and then we continue to earn more and more interest. So one more slide I want to share with you here is this week is a record week for us. This is a slide that shows you how much we paid out. So this is the first week ever that we'll be paying for the week, paying over $1 million in interest. And you can see this line, the dark blue or cobalt, whatever this color is how much we're paying in Cell. And the light blue is how much we're paying in Bitcoin or Ethereum and so on. So the people that over the past year or two have earned in sell really earned 10 times more than the people who just earn in kind. So if you chose to take your Bitcoin, deposit with us, and earn in Bitcoin, you did very well because you still had all the appreciation of Bitcoin. Plus, you made 4, 5, 6%. But if you earned it in sell, you earned 8.6%. Right now, I think we're paying something like 8.66 or something like that, and the value of the sell went up, right? So really killed it. So I'm not telling people, hey, buy, sell token. What I'm saying to most of you is that the best combination is to hold your main asset. You believe in Ethereum, great. You believe in Bitcoin, but earn the yield in sell, right? So you allowing the yield not just to maximize, right? Especially if you're a platinum holder, but also it compounds. And on top of that, sell appreciates. So the people that understood that, and today, I'm happy to announce that we just graduated 23 millionaires. 23 people on the top 200 became millionaires just because they held enough sell and the sell value appreciated. And we couldn't be happier, right? This is what we're here for. We're here to really help as many of you graduate into that class. And some of these people, again, some of them we'll be doing some videos. So if you wanted to tell your story about this, come talk to us. We would love to showcase, live examples, like people who actually, any of these 23. Again, I'm not going to share your names unless you obviously give us permission. But we would like to do capture that moment, capture the value creation, the graduating you into that financial independence or into retirement. And some of these people had businesses for 20 or 30 years where they could not basically make any money, right? Between the taxes and the licenses and all the other stuff they had to do, there was nothing left, right? And then in 1 year or 2 years, they create more value for themselves than they did running those businesses for 20 years. So these are things we want to share with others because there's nothing better than a live or a recorded interview with somebody who became one of those success stories that we're talking about. So I want to talk about a little bit about the $2 trillion worth of scams that the banks have managed to process I think it's over the last decade, right? What was the time frame?
What was all that KYC and AML for if they're just gonna launder it anyway?
Exactly. So just Deutsche Bank, just one bank, my favorite bank, reported $1.3 trillion worth of suspicious activity report, SARS. So these are transactions that they think are fraudulent, or they think are money laundering, or they think are whatever. So what drives me crazy is really when I hear experts, so-called experts, on CNBC or on Fox Business or whatever, come up and say, "Oh, cryptocurrencies, that's where all the dirty money is." So I think in the history of Bitcoin, we obviously never crossed $2 trillion worth of transactions, external transactions. I'm not talking about trading inside of crypto, but just money in and money out. And I guarantee that most of those, 90-something% of those, were legitimate transactions with no issues. So if you just say, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario? Let's say 10% of all of crypto is bad activity, because nefarious activity. So market cap is 300 billion. So this will be, I don't know, $30 billion more or less of nefarious activity. Now compare that to $2 trillion just in 10 years, right? So next time anyone gives you the argument that Bitcoin or Ethereum or crypto in general is bad, just pull that article, and just show it to them and say, hey, how about one bank doing $1.3 trillion worth of nasty stuff, right? So, but we still, we have to prove that we're innocent while the other guys need to prove that they're guilty, right? I mean,
And what
again,
kind
not a
of
single person. Yep.
what kind of fees are they getting? What kind of punishment is happening to these punishments are happening to these banks?
Nothing. I mean, Goldman Sachs helped these crooks in Malaysia steal like what was it? Like billions of dollars from. These were assets that belonged to the citizens of Malaysia, right? MDB2 or something like that, whatever the name of the fund was, right? So they get paid something like $200 million in fees, right, for creating what they knew was money laundering and theft from the Malaysian people. And when they got caught, they paid $1 billion fine or something, and no one went to jail. Not a single person went to jail. Not a single person in Deutsche Bank went to jail.
So
Not a
they
single
stole two
person
hundred
in
million
any bank.
dollars from
Yep,
from the poorest people, and then
right.
nothing.
So Charlie Schramm went to jail for something like, what was it, $60,000 worth of nefarious activity,
Right.
right?
Unquestioned. It wasn't even bad, but it was just talking about bad
Right. But my
activity.
point is, he went to jail. I mean, he sat in jail,
Right.
right? Because so the rules unfortunately apply very differently. If you're a big shot banker and your next stop is in the Treasury Department or in the, like basically you have several get out of jail cards in your pocket at any time. So all those things are exactly what we're fighting for. We're fighting to replace. We're fighting to replace them with things that are acting in your best interest. So I wanted to also mention Line. Again, we went live with Line. We announced it, I think, 2 weeks ago. They announced it. If you go to linecorp.com, the first, I'll share it. I don't know if we have it here, but linecorp.com. If you go to the website, again, one of the largest companies in the world, several hundred million users, and you'll see that. Where are we? One of these announcements with us. Okay, interest with crypto. Here we go. Sorry, I was a little slow here. So Bitfront, which is a subsidiary, offers interest income with Celsius Network. My point is that unless you live in Korea or Japan, you wouldn't have seen that announcement. This is the largest company in the history of crypto to join crypto. Okay, so over 600 million users worldwide, and you would say, "Wow, this would be front page news, right? This would be like on the cover of CoinDesk magazine." I go to their website and she just say, "Look at this amazing news. Celsius got Line to join the crypto community. All their users are going to come and start buying Bitcoin, Ethereum." Never going to find it. Go do a search on
I
CoinDesk.
wonder why.
Go do a search on the block. Go do a search on Cointelegraph, right? So you have to ask yourself why these publications pick and choose. Like they pick their favorites and they will talk about them, offering some coin that no one knows, no one ever heard of. But when Celsius does something huge that is good for everybody in this community, you want to drive the price of Bitcoin up. Bring the biggest guy out there into crypto, convince them to launch a joint service, and have them bring tens of millions of the users into crypto. That's how you grow the community. That's how you create value in Bitcoin and sell token and everything else, right? So I'm just really baffled at, it's not like we didn't approach it. We approached all these reporters, but obviously the reporters wanted to write about it, but their boss's boss decided not to, right? So again, look at the ownership of these companies, right? Like CoinDesk has the same owner as some of our competitors, right? The Block has the same editorial, sharing the same editorial stuff with some of our competitors. So these are, and again, none of these things are good for our community, right? None of these things are helping crypto. And so we're gonna try to graduate these rags and go to mainstream and really tell our story, the story of how Celsius is creating hundreds and hundreds of millionaires and people who can now retire for the first time or have financial independence, show that as a showcase, convincing the skeptics, right? There's a lot of skeptics out there that this model is the best model. This model is the only way, because with zero rates all over the world, now negative rates in many countries, there's zero chance that you can retire by putting money into a savings account or putting money into bonds or putting money into any CDs or anything like that, right? And putting money into the stock market at all times highs, which we are today, is definitely not a good choice, right? Even the tech stocks are down, I don't know, 15 or 20% over the last 2 weeks. So
I think of that million dollars of paid interest, I want to get my piece of that as much as I can every week. And everyone on this video should think, how can I get a piece of that,
That's right. And the key is that you don't have to do anything. Like, if you want to make crazy money on DeFi, you got to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you want to make any kind of return by doing, for example, crypto lending like Celsius does, you have to, like, we have over 100 people, right? You need compliance, you need AML, you need all this other stuff. And then none of our customers have time or basically the reputation or the resources to put that together. So us putting it together for all of you and blending those rates together, right? Blending institutional exchanges, DeFi, all the other sources of income, and giving you the highest rate, no matter what happens. Rates move 100 times every day. We still distill it down, just like a good whiskey. We distill it down to acting in your best interest and paying you the highest rate. So I have another set of amazing news. Our team really, really worked hard at this. If you remember, we originally allowed you to buy coins inside the app using a credit card with our partnership with Simplex. And we've basically, the rate you pay there is the same rate as Binance, right? So the BTC rate is the Binance rate, and you just pay a 3% credit card processing fee, which I think is the lowest or equal to the lowest rate in the world. But we've also added SEPA and ACH. Initially, when we added it, we had the same cost as everybody else. But we've seen have seen a huge increase in usage from many of the community. And because of that, we managed to negotiate down the rates. For example, the ACH rate is 0.1%. It's the lowest rate in the world. There is no place in the world, not an exchange, not a wallet, no one who claims that they are doing better than Celsius. You go to Coinbase and see how much they charge you. It's going to be 2 or 3 times more than what Celsius allows you to move funds from your checking account into through ACH and buy this or that coin, right? So we give you the lowest rate for the purchase. We don't make any money of it. Celsius does not charge any fee whatsoever. We don't make any money from Coinbase or from Binance. We don't have a referral fee. We don't have a back-end fee, right? Whatever we get, we give you the customer. So 0.1% on ACH, and now we lowered the SEPA fee. It used to be 0.75. We renegotiated down to 0.5, which is also the lowest SEPA fee in the world, as far as I know. I've not been able to find anything lower than that. So no origination fee, no withdrawal fee, which everybody else charges, right? No transaction fee, no early termination fee, no liquidation fee, no fee. Lowest fees on ACH, lowest fees on SEPA, and the lowest price that you can buy, spot, Bitfinex, Binance price. That's what you're paying. So no one else will do that for you. Why can we do all these things? Ask yourself, like, okay, why is Celsius so nice to me? Because we make all of our money deploying the coins. We're not making any money. Everybody else has to make money. If I'm Coinbase, I have to make money trading, right? I want you to trade all the time. I might even be moving the prices up and down just to get you to either buy or sell, because I don't make any money if the coins are just sitting in the Coinbase account or in the Binance account, right? So the unique thing here is that Celsius reinvented the business model. We invented a whole new business model that has nothing to do with fees, right? Because what are we trying to do? Replace the banks. Well, the banks make all their money on fees. Actually, I have a great slide here on this. So let's jump in. If you can share the screen. You can see the screen now?
Yep.
So this is, I keep talking about JP Morgan and then I never show it. So I decided to go in, dig in, and you can do it yourself. Just do a search for JP Morgan quarterly earnings. This is JP Morgan document. I didn't put this together, okay? So this is JP Morgan bragging to its shareholders. This is a newsletter they sent to their shareholders. I think I own one share, so that's why I'm getting it. And they're saying, look at us. We are so good. We've made net income of $8.5 billion. Now you'd say, wow, $8.5 billion. That's just for the quarter. That's not for the year. For the year, they made $36 billion. Okay? So there's 7.5 billion people on the planet. That's enough to give over $4 for every person on the planet. Every year, they can give them $4 and they will have change left over. Right?
And how are they making that money, Alex?
All this money, without exception, is made on fees, right? On charging deposit fee, withdrawal fee, ATM fee, credit card fee, charging people 24% on their credit cards, right? And so on, so on, so on. So, and then the banks take all this money and they give it back to shareholders, right? You don't get a check from JP Morgan saying, wow, look at this profitable year we had. You, the depositor, we love you. Here is a dividend check for you, the depositor. It's always a dividend check to the shareholders, to Warren Buffett, to whoever is the largest shareholder of this or that bank. So, but the point is that there's a thing here that most people don't even know what it is. It says ROE, 15%. What is ROE? Right? Return on equity. So JP Morgan is making consistently 15% on their money, right? So if they're paying 15, if they're making 15%, why aren't they paying you? Whatever, pay me 7%, pay me 5%. They're paying 0.1%. So that's the absurdity. The absurdity is how much they make. And again, all of this is public information. None of this is something that I spend months researching and putting numbers together. This is in plain view, available to everyone who would just bother to look. And it just shows you that, again, over the last few hundred years, the banks have perfected the mechanism of extracting from the poor and delivering to the already rich, right? Through this form of using fees to extract money and pay it out in dividends or stock buybacks, right? Now, the Fed or the bank regulator, the FDIC, just said to the bank, listen, you guys cannot do any more stock buybacks. You cannot give yourself any more bonuses, just like they did in 2007, 2008, right? Why is that? Because the banks have hundreds of billions of dollars of bad debt right now, right? From real estate deals and all kind of other people who don't pay their mortgages because they lost their job and this and that. This is going to be an avalanche of bad deals. And yet the banks continue to shell out as much money as possible, paying their employees huge dividends and paying the shareholders as much money as possible. And then what happens when the government comes and says, look, you're going to have a lot of bad debt. What are you going to do about it? Banks
bailout.
Very poor. They're like, oh my God, look, we have no capital. We can't. We're going to go out of business and we're going to take down the whole U.S. economy with us. So you Congress, better go and print some more money for us and give it to us for free. Otherwise, guess what? We're going to bring down the whole economy with us. That's what happened in 2008. That is what's about to happen in 2021, right after the election. I said that in 2 or 3 AMAs ago. I told you that the U.S. government is going to have to bail out all the top banks, all the largest banks. These guys that
they've been conditioned
$30
to,
billion a year each bank, $30 billion a year, are all going to have to be bailed out. But not after they already paid all their executives and all their shareholders all this money and left nothing in the vault. Right? What you would say, since 2008, they learned their lesson. They saved every year. They collected money and saved it for a rainy day. The opposite. They distributed all the earnings and anything that was available as fast as possible to make sure there's nothing left in case there is a rainy day. Now, Celsius is doing exactly the opposite. Let's look at what Celsius is doing. Thanks to all of you, the Cell token now is over 80 cents. If you look at the treasury of Celsius, Celsius now has over $300 million worth of treasury, meaning assets, right? That we're not selling, we're not distributing them as bonuses, we're not shilling them out to the shareholders or to the CEO or anything like that. The opposite, we're accumulating for a rainy day. And on top of it, we raised $20 million and we have more cash that's coming in because we're profitable. So Celsius, compared to all of our competitors, has the most assets today, right? You think BlockFi has $50 million? They just raised 50. They're burning 5, 6, 7 million a month. So their balance is going down very, very quickly. Their balance is not growing up. They don't have a token, a Cell token, or any token, right? Nexo, you think Nexo is bragging about how they're doing dividend distributions. What do you think a dividend distribution is? It's exactly what JP Morgan does. So Celsius is not just acting in your best interest, it is also preparing for a rainy day. It is collecting assets to make sure that if something bad happens, and I'm not talking about this for Celsius, I'm saying if something bad happens in the economy or something bad happens in crypto, we will survive it, right? We will have all the dry powder that we need to get through it. And since our last AMA, you know, I picked on crypto.com and I picked on a few other projects showing you how they're not acting in your best interest, right? How they're basically dumping their own coins into circulation. And that's why maybe the token was up 2 or 3 times, but their market cap went up 15 times, right? So they captured most of the value. Look at Celsius, right? Who captured most of the value? These 23 millionaires we were just talking about. All of you who own Cell token, 1-to-1, right? So, and I believe in that. I believe that that is the right way, because even though most people are not financially literate, they know that something is screwed up with the existing financial system. They know they're being conned. They know they're being stolen from every day. They just can't put their finger on it. So if there was just one, one project or one service that was actually not doing that, just one, that was not stealing from you and not trying to charge you fees and not trying to do everything in their own best interest instead of your interest, then sooner or later, people will understand it. After all, you cannot fool all the people all the time. Or so at least my teachers and my parents told me, right? So let me touch a few more points. So I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, Alex, all of this is great, and we have no doubt that Cell token is going to $1.50. But at $1.50, you're going to dump 25 million tokens on us. And all of your employees, even though they worked hard, and even though they got us all the way here, and they worked 7 days a week, and they kept us safe, while everybody else keeps announcing how they got hacked, or how they were down for 48 hours, or whatever, right? And go figure out what actually happened there, right? But the point is people are saying, look, it looks like the party is about to end. I mean, you're about to dump all these tokens on us, and you're not going to be any different than all these other projects that are doing the same thing. So first, yes, we are going to issue 25 million Cell token. We're going to issue it 10 days after the Cell token held above $1.50. But we requested all of our employees to basically participate in a program where if they agree to lock up their tokens, they will get more, meaning they'll get a bonus. So you want to get your token and not get a bonus? No problem. Fine. Here are your tokens. And if you need to sell them, go ahead. After all of us have bills and all of us have things to do. But if you agree to lock it up for a year or 2 years or 3 years, you're going to get much more. And we'll see. When we get that data, we haven't really got everybody to vote on it. But when we have that data, we will share it with you. So you can actually know. You will see not just how much is being distributed, but how much is distributed locked up and how much is distributed locked up for 3 years versus 2 years versus 1 year. So if you're worried about this, there'll be full transparency as to how many tokens are going to hit the market. And look, we had a big ICO seller, right? Remember the guy at 40 cents? And the price of sell was just going 40, 40, 38, 42, 40, 41, right? And I told you, again, every week I came up and I said, look, this guy's, he's halfway done. He's 3/4 done. Okay, he's done, right? What happened to sell token the minute he was done, right? Boom, double, like in no time, right? We're the best performing token out of anyone, including Polkadot and Chainlink, and you name the best token you want and put it side by side with Cell token. While they lost 50% of their value, Cell token doubled in value because we removed that seller out of the way. So yes, there's definitely a scenario where we may have a bunch of employees selling tokens and we may go sideways. I mean, none of these people want your price to go down. I hope they're going to be selling slowly. So we may go sideways or we may not grow as fast as before. But the most important things to watch are basically the stats about Celsius. And I want to show you some of these places where you can see that, right? Because some of you just never visited all these different places. So I'm sharing the screen, Zach.
And Alex, one more point on that token distribution is that those aren't newly generated tokens. Those are tokens that were set aside within the Celsius platform. So it's not going to increase total
circulating supply. Exactly. Very good point. So the total supply is always the same, right? And at 695 million or whatever it is, if you go to a website and you look at the Cell token, like if you go to our site and look at the Cell token right here, you'll actually see that number, right? You'll see exactly what is the circulating supply, and right in there you will see this number that Zach is just talking about, right? You will see the wallet here. The first wallet, actually, the reserve, the 50 million reserve is 25 million at $1.50 and 25 million at $3, right? And again, this is all part of this total supply of 695. So we're not minting new tokens. We're not printing anything new. We will never do that. We can't do it. The smart contract, you can read the smart contract and see that it does not allow any more issuance. So if you want to see what's happening with Celsius, go to Celsius.com and you can scroll down. This is the historical price of each, basically the rates we paid, the interest rate we paid for the last year or two on every coin and token that's in inventory. You can see if the rates are going up and down. Again, you will not see a chart like this from anyone. Why? Because they don't change their rates. All you're going to see is like a dead line, like like you see from a dead person in a hospital, right? So if somebody doesn't change the rate, look at how much our rates change every week. Because sometimes we earn a lot, and sometimes we earn almost nothing. Sometimes the rates go to zero. Look at this. The rate went to zero and then came back. So if we don't earn anything, we don't pay anything. But when we earn a lot, we pay a lot. So here you can track again. Sorry?
On that last chart, that's a huge part of the stability of the system. It's like all these pension plans got in trouble because they promised to pay X amount for the next 100 years, right? But if that yield doesn't come in, then they're in trouble. Having the flexibility to pay what we're able to allows the system to be sustainable, indefinitely.
Exactly. Very well said. You can do all the MAs now by yourself. You don't need me anymore. Good. All right. So here we got the number of signups. So you can see, is it growing? Is it growing faster or slower, right? How much is in BTC deposits? Are they growing? As long as everything is growing, then we'll be earning more. And if active users and everything else, if it's not growing, then you should start getting worried about. This is the speed of the growth. So you can see what is in percentages. What is the speed? So right now we're growing at 3% per week, right? We used to grow at 7% per week, but again, back there in the beginning, we only had, 100 million in assets. Now we have 1.3 billion in assets, and we're still growing 3%, right? So that's much harder to do when you have big numbers. And again, you have plenty of other stats here. This is how much was bought every week. You also get this on the weekly email distribution. But here we also put the price of sell, and you can see the correlation between us effectively going to market to buy those tokens for all the people who asked to earn in sell, and the price of sell token. Here again, you have total of supply. So the total supply was 695 million, and you can see what happened over time. which wallet was holding how much. The green is all of the Celsius community holders, and you can see how they're slowly eating away at the total supply as more and more of the tokens are being deposited in the Celsius wallet. So these are all amazing stats that you should be using all the time. And also, we just added on the community page a new content portal, which has these great new videos that help you learn how to do simple tasks in the Celsius app. Quick videos, 1 or 2 minute long, that you can use either for yourself or you can share them with people that you're trying to bring onto the platform, right? So this is great content that should be pretty easy to make happen. All right, so let's see what else we have here. All right, so I had a question of, is Celsius safe? Yep, more assets. I would bet that we have more assets than BlockFi, Nexo, Salt, Cred, and whoever else you have. Put them all together. Celsius has more assets than all those guys put together. So when people tell you, no, I think BlockFi is much safer, you should ask a simple question. Just say, okay, well, how much cash do they have, right? How much, are they profitable or they're burning cash? So what's the longevity of the platform if they're burning $5 million a month, right? Versus Celsius having $325 million or more and being profitable. We adding cash to the rainy day fund every week, right? Record profits last week, record profits the week before, right? So all these things matter because, again, the safety of the asset from a security standpoint is one thing, but the safety and longevity of the platform itself, like Zach was saying, is the business model solid? Are you a sustainable business, despite the fact that you're giving 80% back to the community, right? Let's see. Yeah, so we talked about $1 million a week in interest. Amazing stats, right? Top 200. So in our white paper, we talked about the fact that one of the utilities of Cell is going to be that if you are platinum or a part of that membership club, you will be attending special events and this and that. So obviously because of COVID, we used to do an event every month in New York. I forgot what was the name of it. Do you remember? It was Tech Talks or something, or Block Talks or something like that.
Yeah, I don't.
And we had to stop it, but I've publicly invited. If you're top 200, you can come and join me live in one of the AMAs. So if you want to participate, send me an email, and we'll try to accommodate as many as we can. And that will be like one of those special utilities that you get from being top 200. No COVID patients allowed, so you have to show us that you tested yourself. I have too many kids here, I presented at several events. If you missed them, there were several. I think we'll post them on our YouTube channel so you can see them. Also going to be in LA Blockchain Summit, which is coming up. So we'll post that in the events on the website. And all of you guys are welcome to join and send it to other people. You know, sometimes it helps when you appear in this and that event. People believe that better than when they watch an AMA. So whatever works. All right. So I think I've hit all the points on my list. Zach, we have plenty of questions, I think.
Last big one. We are officially announcing the support of the XRP Spark fork. So,
hooray!
Talk a little bit about
all the
that.
Spark guys. Yeah. So we no matter where the coins are, you don't have to worry about it. You're gonna get your Spark allocation. It's just gonna show up in your Celsius wallet. We worked with the team and put it together. So I know several other platforms announced that they are not supporting it. So if you have XRP on BitTrue or you have it on somewhere else, guess what? You're not going to get the Spark. So if you want your wallet to Spark, it's only going to happen in one place, right? So move your coins to Celsius. Now we got to get a
All right.
lot of XRP, and we're going to need to find a home for all of that XRP. But that's
It's gonna.
I love those
flooding
problems.
in now.
Those are the problems I work on every day. All right, next question.
Okay, so Wasim sent me a great tweet from Chamath, and we'd love to hear your comment on it. It says, the conventional approach to investing for retirement was 60% equities, 40% bonds. If your goal was 10% a year, this mix got the job done in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Not anymore. Now with bonds going to zero, where does that 40% allocation go?
Yeah, so Chamath is a very smart guy, but he still lives in the old world, right? I mean, and he's a crypto guy. Obviously, he has a lot of crypto, but I'm not making fun of him. But just the 60-40 model is dead. The model that seems to do better than anything these days is the 80-20 model, right? So again, Celsius did 1,000% better than Bitcoin. You show me anyone who's done 1,000% better than Bitcoin. Anyone, okay? I'm happy to compare us side by side with them and see who has longevity, who has revenues, who has growth potential. Like, how big can Celsius get, right? We're talking about all the money in the world. This model works with trillions of dollars, not billions of dollars, right? When we launched it and we had, I don't know, 10 or 12 million deposits, people told me, well, when you get to 100 million, it's not going to work. Then we had 100 million. They said, well, when you get to a billion, of course, it's not going to work on a billion. You know, big numbers, billion. Well, we had 1.3 billion and we have record rates. We have never paid rates this high. So we're doing the opposite of what everybody is saying, because everybody said, wait, when you get to 1 billion, your rates are going to drop dramatically. You won't be able to support these high rates when you have so much money. We have record money coming in. For the last few days, every day, 10 million, 9 million, 8 million net deposits, meaning 20 coming in, 10 going out, right? Every day. So our ability to earn that yield is exactly what JP Morgan does. It's exactly what Citibank does. We didn't invent a new machine. We took the Wall Street machine, and instead of pouring all that money on the shareholders, we're just pouring all that money on the depositors. And people are saying, but it's impossible. Come on, Alex. It's not like, no one thought to do that before. No. Everybody just wanted to invent a better machine to pour even more money on the shareholders, right? Look at Wall Street. Everybody's climbing over their brother to promise the shareholders higher dividends and higher stock buybacks, and even more to the executives, right? And these people are paying themselves $60, $70, $80 million a year. I used to run a public company, Novotel Wireless. It's public information how much I made. I made several $million a year running that company, okay? I took a 75% pay cut, maybe 80% pay cut to come and do Celsius. So I'm definitely not doing it for the money, right? So, but the point is, when the numbers get big enough, 10 billion or 100 billion, then even what we make is too much. We're going to be making billions of dollars in profit, right? So, and the intent is to continue to do good, not promise to do good. I love these guys who interview and say, yeah, I want to do charities, but I first want to make $1 billion and then I'm going to give all my money away. Right. No. How about you give your money away every day, 80% of it, every day? Not naming names, but I think we all know what I'm talking about. All right. So.
All right. We got a lot of questions here.
So starting off. Right. So all I'm saying is, if you own any bonds, that's a disaster. I said the most dangerous place on the planet today is owning bonds and earning 0.2% on them or something like that, because these bonds are going to crash, right? Again, we cannot pay our debts. It doesn't matter if the Fed is going to bail us out or whatever. The value of the money itself, right? The bond is just a promise to give you the same money in the future. But the money is going to be worth 10% of what it's worth today, because that's the only way we can basically debase our debt, debase the currency. So you don't want to be in bonds. The stock market is an all-time high or close to all-time high. You definitely don't want to buy it high. The rule is buy it low, sell it high. Right now, it's high. You don't want to buy it here. So you want to be in non-correlated asset. We have a whole AMA that we talked about that. So if you missed it, go back, take a look at the details of us talking about the splits and this and that. But I agree that the 60-40 is dead. I'm just saying that the new model is the model where you're earning in non-correlated asset. You're earning in gold, like XAUT. You're earning in Bitcoin, like you're earning in sell on Bitcoin, right? You can't beat that with any other assets, not even if you bought one of the SPACs that Chamath is trying to sell you. Next question.
All right. Question from Alyssa. Is there a limit to how much I can borrow from Celsius?
Yeah, so there is no limit. We've done loans. I think we've done the largest loans in the industry, 10 million, 20 million. I think one loan was like 25 million. So there is no limit as long as you have the assets. We only do asset-backed lending. And you can, as long as you have the asset in the wallet, you can automatically, it will allow you to borrow as much as you want. You have $10 million worth of Bitcoin. It will allow you to withdraw $5 million of dollars or stable coins or anything else that the app supports, right? So we support all 33 assets. You can borrow against gold. You can borrow against Cell token. You can borrow against any of the assets. And you can borrow in multiple outputs. You can say, again, currency, stable coins, or soon we'll be adding some other assets as well. Next question.
All right. Alec is asking, what is corporate onboarding and how would it be better to use a corporate account versus a personal account?
Yeah, so there are many benefits to having a corporate account. Corporations have exceptional lobbying in Washington. They spend billions of dollars creating special loopholes for themselves. But when they create one of those, the average Joe has the right, the legal right, to do exactly the same thing. It's just that these things are not published. There are no AMAs that describe all the major loopholes that large corporations use to not pay taxes or to defer their income, or to pay huge bonuses to their executives while they're not paying any immediate taxes, right? All these things are things that top financial advisors do for their very, very rich friends. And if you just do a little bit of digging, you'll find out that all that information is available and you should be doing exactly the same thing. I mentioned, for example, a New Jersey LLC, or you can create an offshore entity. This has nothing to do with not like lying to the IRS or cheating your taxman. That has nothing to do with it. You legally, following every rule and every regulation, are allowed to do these things and report them properly and defer your taxes. So there are many advantages. I'm not your tax advisor, not your financial advisor, so I can't give you any of these comments. You have to do your own research or hire a professional to help you with that. And then you can take advantage of all these things. But there are definitely hundreds of them that are in the law. You know, they're available to all of us. Next question.
All right. Stephanie's asking, could you please update us on the plan with the $20 million raised?
20 million raised. I think it's actually 22 in total. That's the plan, is to have money for a rainy day. We're profitable. We don't need it. But if something happens and we want to dip into the piggy bank, we will not be dipping into your piggy bank, meaning your assets. We will be dipping into investors' piggy bank. That was the idea, to have more cash on the balance sheet in case a rainy day came. Next question.
All right. Voss is asking, do you think our business model will continue to outperform DeFi projects? How could they change to improve?
Yeah, so let me see. I think I have something on it. Can you show the screen? I invited a special guest to tell us about this.
So why not start doing your business in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies? Because you will have a currency that you can trust, you can hold and you can trust. And it's interesting, and people say, well, how can you predict that Bitcoin's going to be at $250,000 in 2022 or 2023? And it's easy for me because we've we've done the speculative thing where everybody kind of goes, oh, wow, that could be really interesting. And now we're doing the DeFi thing, which Alex is the innovator of. He's the first of the DeFi. I mean, anytime you hear DeFi, think Celsius, because that's what they were first. And
we just called it money over IP, MOIP, and everybody else went with DeFi. It's like, you know.
What?
All right, so what is Tim telling us? No, not that I invented DeFi. He's telling you that Bitcoin is going higher, much, much, much higher. So yes, there is a scenario where our model doesn't work. For example, even though we're adding many more users, even though we're adding much more in deposits, if the value of Bitcoin crashes, it goes back to 1,000, right? We basically go from $1.3 billion to $100 million, right, in assets. And that's not enough to generate the yield, meaning we'll be losing a lot of money with 100 and something people trying to deliver all this yield and everything for all of you. So certain things do have to stay, meaning the price has to be stable. It doesn't have to go to 30,000 or 300,000, but it cannot drop for a long period of time, right? I mean, if it drops and comes back like it did in March 12, nothing happens. That's what Celsius, again, our best day was on March 12, right? Still. But if it stays there, it drops and it stays there because the community lost trust in Bitcoin or there was a hack or whatever, then that is a difficult event, meaning we're going to have to fire people, we're going to have to pull back, we're going to have to slow down, we're going to have to lower rates dramatically and so on. So the model works as long as the flywheel continues to work, as long as all these things are up to the right. Number of users joining us, which again is public information. You can see it in your wallet. If you haven't used your wallet, there's real-time feed. Also on our website right now, we updated this. This is a real-time number. So we used to have like a fixed number that we updated once a month. But if you go to the Celsius site and you look at just scroll down a little bit and you look at this number right here, wherever it is, let's see 1 second. It's such a beautiful site. I love looking at it. Okay, so these numbers are real numbers. 174,184. You'll see it update every day, right? So that's a real-time number, net number of users. So the point is that the users have to grow. That must happen. If the users are shrinking and everybody's leaving us, again, we cannot continue providing the service, and the wheel is going to slow down and eventually stop. They have to deposit more in assets. So watch that assets number, right? And we are launching, as I mentioned, proof of community. And proof of community is going to allow all of you to verify independently, nothing to do with us. Every user of Celsius will be able to sign cryptographically and verify, do we have the assets that we claim? Did we earn the interest and the yield that we claim? Did we distribute pro rata? Did we actually give you the percentage that you're supposed to earn, right? So that is the second piece. And the third piece, again, is we saying we're profitable. Great. Well, can we prove that? Can you show that? So we are a UK company. A UK company has to file their financial reports every year. And you can just go to the company's house. Right now you can see the 2018, sorry. And very soon you'll be able to see the 19. It's basically February 19 through February 20, right? And you'll be able to see, is Celsius in good health or bad health or whatever. Again, you cannot do that for any of our competitors. Not a single one of them does any of these things that I just mentioned, right? And you have to ask yourself, well, how come Celsius is the only one willing to open the kimono and keep it open and show everybody all the time what's happening, right? It's because we have nothing to hide. Next question.
All right, Oliver is asking, did you have time to look at the new proposed European Union regulations, and how do you think they will affect crypto?
Yeah, so we have like 3 different law firms. Believe me, they're all looking at all this stuff all the time. Not just that, we actually many times contribute to the law, meaning we either write papers or write memos that try to influence the regulators to do the right thing, right? Explaining to them, here are the benefits. This is how we keep it safe. This is why, like our model, for example, is better than other model. You should regulate less here and more there. So, in general, regulation by itself is not a bad thing. Bad regulation is a bad thing, right? So what we're trying to do is really pull together both kind of increase in compliance, increase in governance, increase in transparency, which I think are all good things, and avoid all these things we talked about before, where banks and other entities have these tremendous problems, $2 trillion worth of suspicious activity that they kind of sweep under the carpet and pretend it never happened, right? So we file the same SARS report, right? Suspicious activity report. We file a, we have PEP issues, right? Like when a person that is connected to a government or some other, person, you have to basically verify that you're not bribing anyone, you're not doing something that is it's with monies belonging to somebody else, and so on. So all these things require a tremendous amount of effort and follow up, and it's not like one time. It's not like you check somebody first time when they come into Celsius. You have to watch the basket all the time. If any of the apples start rotting, you have to pull them out. So we have continuous monitoring that verifies that none of the bad apples inside the Celsius community contaminates the whole community. Because I guarantee you that these big banks that we were making fun of just a few minutes ago are going to want nothing less than to shut us down and find, like say, hey, you see here, they have a PEP or they have a SAR that they didn't report. And you'll be like, wait a second, but they have 1,000 of those, right? They have billions of dollars in fines that they paid. Boy, they got caught with all this stuff. None of that. The rules don't apply equally. They're going to shut us down in a minute. Did you see any big banks being shut down? Did they shut down a single bank after all of the shenanigans? Laundering money for the mafia in Mexico, laundering money for Russian billionaires in where was it? Denmark, $600 billion. I mean, crazy stuff. Don't believe me? Google it. So we have to be, purer than the Pope, and make sure that everything we do is perfect, because we don't get a second chance. At least not until we have like $1 trillion in assets, and then we're too big to fail. Next question.
All right. Voss is asking, could you make it possible to see our equity investment via Bank to the Future in the Celsius wallet?
Yeah, it's a great idea. It will probably take, 6 months or 12 months. I don't know how long, but it's a good idea to add that right into the wallet. So yes, we're going to native, meaning we're going to have like its own version for Android and its own version for Apple. So after you see the native come out, then it's much easier for us to add these things and go faster. So right now, the team is busy going native.
All right. Charlie is asking, there's still major friction for customers of legacy banking systems to transition into crypto. What advice would you give for new people coming into crypto from those legacy systems?
Electric shock therapy. Look, the problem is here, right? The problem is mental. It's not a technical problem. It's not an educational problem. For most people, when you tell them the bank pays 0.1 and Celsius pays 11.5%, so that's more than 100 times more. It's 115 times more. 115 times more. Now, it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, even when I say that, I go like, wow, of course. Like, when somebody promises you something that's too good to be true, usually it's too good to be true. So how is that possible, right? Just go back to the JP Morgan report, right? They make 15% return on equity. So why are they paying you 0.1%? So the problem is mental. The problem is that the banks and the financial institutions have done such a good job over such a long time, lowering your rates every year, lowering your rates, right? It's like that's what they do, right? It's over time, you don't even feel the pain. You don't even know that something is wrong, right? Very few of us remember how we used to earn 6 and 7% by just putting money in a checking or savings account, right? But that used to be the norm. You didn't have to do anything. You just deposited the money with the bank, and after fees, you still made 6 or 7%. So again, we are not doing anything special. The hard part is convincing the deniers, the people who got burned by something, or they got burned by BitConnect or some of these other scams, and they're just saying, well, it's just another scam. Well, but they have proof of community, and they have this, and they have that. No, I don't want to touch any of that. Okay, I got burned, I'm not going there. I'd rather feel safe putting my money in a bank that pays me 0.1%, that doesn't have any assets left in it. All these banks are hollowed out, and they have hundreds of billions of dollars in liabilities that are coming due from all these giant buildings here, real estate and everything, all the factories that are shutting down, all the stuff that's because of Corona is basically going to go out of business. Who do you think is holding the bag for that? All the banks who issued loans against all of these assets, right? So you think your bank is safe. I'm telling you, your bank is probably one of the most dangerous places you can be. And all these banks are going to have to either file bankruptcy and basically rearrange themselves or be bailed out by our government. And this time the bailout is going to be, again, tens of trillions of dollars, right? So just imagine what happens to the value of your money. Again, it's not that the $100 you gave them or $10,000 you gave them is not going to be there. It's going to be there. It's just going to be worth nothing. You'll need $1,000 to buy a loaf of bread. And you think I'm kidding. Ask your grandparents, what did they pay for their loaf of bread? It was 5 cents. How much do you pay now? $2? Well, do the math. So the issue is really that for me, it's obvious because, again, I lived through hyperinflation. I lived through all of that, both in communism and in socialism. When I grew up in Israel, they had 460% inflation. Why? Because they went crazy and printed crazy money and thought nothing's going to happen, right? So yes, the US dollar is a much bigger ship, but it's still going to go to the bottom of the ocean if there's a hole in the ship. Just the question is, how fast is it taking on water? And no one wants to go to the basement and check if the Titanic has a hole in it and is it sinking. Everybody's on the deck having fun, getting a suntan, spending money, and telling everybody how they're rich. Next question.
All right.
I should keep doing these.
Andre's.
I think it's,
Yeah, they're almost as good as your dad jokes. Andrej is asking, can you elaborate about the fungibility of Bitcoin? This protects the community from quote unquote bad coins.
Yeah, so that is a major, major problem. So I think North Korea alone stole something like $3 billion worth of crypto. They actually managed to hack people's account. You think it's some hacker in Russia in his basement. No, this is the government of North Korea having a whole building of hackers just sitting there and using that to basically fund their operation. So you definitely don't want to deposit a great Bitcoin and get back a North Korean Bitcoin, right? And then have the US government or somebody else show up and say, oops, guess what? Your Bitcoin came from a nasty place and it's not yours anymore. We confiscated it. So we do many, many different things on the front end, on the back end, during stuff. And a lot of it has to do, like we work with, for example, Chain Analysis and other companies to verify all these things, right? When we onboard somebody, like when we have an institution come in and say, I want to deposit coins with you, we look at their wallets and verify what is the history of these wallets, right? And if we see that they're in any way connected to anything nefarious, anything that is risky, we basically don't do business with these people. And we say no to people every day. Even if we had a guy asking for a $20 million loan, said he's going to give us $40 million in Bitcoin. And we had to say, no, we're not doing it, right? Because your coins are not clean enough, right? Again, he may not have been a bad guy, but the source of the coins leads to a very bad place. So all these things are things that are important because guess what happens when you go and transact on this or that exchange? They may be sprinkling bad coins in you, and you have no clue. Are you going to spend the time to go and check if these are good ones or bad ones? Even when you buy them, you don't know what you're buying, right? Unless you're buying on the US exchange that is using all this stuff, but then you're paying a higher price, usually 3, 4, 5% higher price than what it is somewhere else. Then there is a chance that you're not going to be buying clean coins. So all these things again cost money. Like we have a whole department that deals with all this stuff. People working hard, working weekends, right, to make sure that we catch these things and stop them before they happen. But luckily, again, we've never had an incident where, again, we report to the authorities all the time, but we never had an incident where we had to report, tainted coins, Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything, because we failed on the upfront checks. So it's a very important issue, and thanks for bringing it up. Next question.
All right. Eric's asking, I love how well Cell Token is doing. If everyone swaps into Cell, would that affect the flywheel?
Yeah, so great question. So let's think through this, right? So here we have the chart, right? So can they see it?
Yep.
You're sharing the screen? All right. So you can see, again, you have the dark blue or the cobalt, and you have the light blue or whatever, marine, whatever color this is. And the dark is the one earning in Cell, and the blue is the one earning in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, right? So what happens if everything is blue? Well, we just take the rest of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of this part, and we use that to buy more Cell token, meaning we already earned the money, right? It's not like we have to go and earn new money. We already earned the money. It's just half of it is still in non-Cell token. So for us to go to all Cell token doesn't change anything as the flywheel. The flywheel still generates income. It's just we have to take more steps to translate what we earn, because most of what we earn is in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. It's not in Cell token, right? Cell token earns very little by itself, right? We earn a little bit doing market making. We earn a little bit on Cell, issuing loans and things like that. But most of the earnings are coming from the other one. So we have an extra step of translating that into Cell token. But it does not slow down or affect the flywheel. Next question.
All right. Sarah's asking, could we possibly delist from HIT BTC?
So I don't think we listed there intentionally, meaning I hear a lot of people, they charge you crazy withdrawal fees and things like that. We cannot affect that. We ask them to stop it. We ask them to treat customers nice. Just don't use that exchange. That's all I can tell you. We removed that from our website as one of the supported exchanges. So if you want to go in a safe place, look at the exchanges that are, I think if you look, let me share the screen for a second. So if you go under Cell token, right, you will see us listing where you can trade or buy Cell. And somewhere here we go. So you have Total, you have Uniswap, you have Liquid, you have IDEX, Switcheo, or Simplex, right? You can use a credit card inside the app. So these are the kind of the places that currently you can either swap or buy or sell. And soon you'll be able to do also swapping inside the app. And in addition, we are looking for additional listings. So for example, if you want us to list on FTX, then ping Sam and tell him, hey, Sam, what are you putting all that sushi and fruits and all that stuff? Put Cell token. Okay, it's only the best performing asset in crypto. Okay, instead of all of that fruit salad that you gave us that's spoiled and is down 60-70%, how about we put something that's up 1,000%? Or maybe that's not in the best interest of the community. Next question.
All right, a great one from chat here from Mike. He says, how could I buy more coins in the app? It looks like there's a $2,500 maximum each time, and it takes about a week to clear.
So we have an OTC desk. If you want to buy a large amount, just email otc@celsius.network and tell them how much you're looking to buy, and we can try to match you up either with a seller or help you with the transaction. So if you cannot buy enough, we'll help you with getting that transaction done. Next question.
All right, Bradley's asking, how would you describe the risk profile of putting money in Celsius? What investment class would it have a comparable risk to?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I actually don't think I spent enough time thinking about that, but we're definitely not as safe as Treasury bills, but we're also not as risky as some of these crazy IPOs that you see on NASDAQ that are just like all the SPACs and all that stuff. So
Nikola.
Or Nikola, yeah. So look, I think Celsius needs more time to prove its model. Like I said, some people just think, okay, you guys have small numbers, it's not going to work when you have big numbers. Some people say, well, you're going to run out of customers. Some people say, well, Bitcoin is going to zero, so all of this doesn't matter because Bitcoin is just going to crash. So we have to, just like Tesla did, right? I mean, you look at Tesla, I remember 2003 when they were like just coming up with a plan and everybody was like, what, you're going to have a roadster that is electric? That no one's going to buy that thing, like what kind of company is going to? So they had to prove themselves again and again and again, and then they couldn't scale, and then they couldn't have enough batteries, and they couldn't make the cars fast enough, you name it, right? But now Tesla is worth more than all the other car companies put together, right? So more than all the airlines put together. I mean, it's like crazy, right? So when you do the impossible, right? And Celsius is doing, again, 100 times better than your bank, 1,000 times better than Bitcoin, 1,000%, not 1,000 times. I had that mistake on my tweet. I put an X instead of percentage. So, but again, these are crazy numbers, right? So we have a lot to prove. And that's why when you go online, you see this amazingly polarized opinions about Celsius. Like, I bet you that the block, for example, it's not that they hate Celsius, or well, CoinDesk probably does because they're, what do you call it? They're owned by one of our largest competitors. But the block just doesn't believe us. They just think, look, these guys must be a scam. No one has ever done this before. So I understand that in 2018. But now, 2020, we have over 100 competitors. And many of them are copying everything we do and say, yeah, we also pay 8%. Or we also pay 9%. Or whatever, right? Not 11.5. I don't think any of them pay 11.5. And you must ask yourself, okay, well, if there's 100 companies copying Celsius, there must be a business model there. It's not like 100 of them are just doing this because they're all going to just lose all their money. So, but I think we have not crossed that chasm. We're definitely still stuck in an environment where we have to prove ourselves. And we have the hardcore believers who are with us. And we just need to cross the Rubicon and get that proof of community published. We get the audit done and publish that. Get maybe do another big raise, maybe raise $100 million from a really famous investor for everybody to say, well, if that famous guy put money in, then it must be legit, but as long as Alex put his own money or Daniel put his own money or 174,000 people put their own money, that doesn't count. We need a really rich guy who made all of his money on Wall Street to tell us that this is a legitimate project. Then we will believe it. Next question.
All right, a great question from the chat actually was, we have a fiat gateway into Celsius. Is having a way for new people to take fiat out?
Yeah. So fiat out requires additional licenses. And we have applied for them. I've told you guys publicly, we applied in the UK, in Australia, and a few other jurisdictions. But until we get those, we cannot do it. So you still have to pull out your Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other asset into Coinbase or into Binance. Or, well, Binance is not a good option, but because they're not a fiat gateway. But you want to put it into somewhere, even Gemini, great exchange. Even though they're investors in BlockFi, I can tell you they're a great fiat gateway, just not so good at paying interest. But the point is that there are plenty of great utilities to take money out, and it is an extra step or two, but until we get our licenses, that's what you have to do.
Right. Question from Ruslan. Is it public knowledge how Celsius deploys assets? Like what percentage is lended versus provided as liquidity, yield farming, etc.?
Yeah, so DeFi is probably less than 10%, maybe 7% or 6%. So it's not a big chunk of our AUM. By far, number one is institutions. So definitely more than 50%. Then it's exchanges. Then it's, we have other lines of business. And then the last one will be DeFi.
Right. Shane is asking, I want to take out a loan using Cell as collateral, but it seems the only possible LTV is 25%. Will the 33 or 50% options be available for Cell token?
Yeah, so we want to add these. I think we're going to wait a little bit to list on a few more exchanges, have more liquidity. Right now, it's just not liquid enough. So we just need more buffer in case, again, somebody wants to do something nefarious with the Cell token. We have no way of controlling it, right? We're not the market maker. We're not participants. So we just want to protect our community right now and just offer the 25%. But as the volumes increase, and again, Uniswap is doing amazing, right? I mean, that volume is up 10 times. The Cell ETH volume is up 10 times just in the last month or two. So it's doing phenomenally well. And if it continues, it will give us much more comfort that, because we know that no one can really manipulate that exchange, for example, and that will give us much more comfort to offer the higher tiers. Next question.
Okay, Nick is asking, in order to truly replace banks, will Celsius eventually do uncollateralized loans to retail users?
Yeah, so the problem with uncollateralized is that normally it has 6 to 7% bad debt. Now with the recession, I bet you the banks are going to see 15, maybe even 20% bad debt. And we just can't afford that. Meaning our community, if I told my community 1 week, hey, I'm not paying you any interest because I had 12% of bad debt and it wiped all of the interest I'm paying you this week, they're going to freak out. They'll be like, what are you talking about? For 3 years, you've paid interest every week. No rain or shine, pandemic or no pandemic, right? So our job is to deliver this yield because, again, our community relies on it to basically pay their bills. This is not, oh, I'm a billionaire already and I'm going to go from 2 billion to 3 billion, right? So for us, the utility that we provide in paying this yield and the stability of that is what we're all about. There isn't anyone else that's been paying you interest for 3 years. Anyone on the planet that's been paying on crypto for 3 years. Or should I play that clip again from Tim Draper? Because we invented this whole thing. We've been paying interest longer than anyone else. And everything you see is just a copy or iteration of the business model that Celsius created, where we paid you Cell on your Bitcoin or on your Ethereum, just like Uni pays you on Ethereum or pays you on something else, or like Comp pays you on depositing ETH and something else. So the idea of paying you in one token for creating liquidity or adding assets in another token or another coin is something that Celsius really created, but we created it for a different reason. We didn't create it to pump and dump or basically try to vampire copy or steal liquidity from this or that project and just steal whatever, $12 million for yourself, right? And we created this to create an engine that pays people, that creates income, saves lives, allows people to plan for the future, right? The good things, not the bad things. Most of these projects today, I'm sorry, with the exception of a few, most of these projects, their intents are not pure, right? Their intents are just another version of get rich quick.
All right. Sebastian's asking, how is it possible for you to give 15% interest on stable coins while the Fed and ECB are giving 0 or even negative rates?
And so I think we covered this. Look, between the JP Morgan thing and you just watch some of the AMAs. I mean, we cover this back and forth several times. We pay it because we earn it. Right now, we are charging record rates to our institutions, to exchanges, to DeFi. So all that put together just allows us to generate much more yield, and because of that, we're paying more. Most of the other people are paying you less, not more. But Celsius sticks to its plan that when we earn more, we pay more. Next question.
All right. Can you update us on support for Uni token?
Yeah, I love Uni token. We got it approved in the committee. So now it's just a technical implementation. So the minute the techies are done, it's going to be live in the wallet. Uni!
All right. Great support. Someone in the chat said, show support for Uni by listing, and here it comes.
Yes. No, look, Uni is a great project. I mean, I love the fact that they showered tokens on the people that provided liquidity to date. I mean, that is just such a good gesture, right? Going back to your 50,000 most loyal customer and saying to all of them, thank you, right? So I haven't seen anyone else do that. And again, maybe they've done it because SushiSwap was kind of like climbing on their backs and trying to steal everybody. But again, I think that project is all good intent, and that's why we love Union. We love Uniswap.
Okay, I'm getting blown up from Wasim. He said he wants you to commit to a rubric for the cell token distribution. Specifically a rubric. I don't know why he's using that word, but
yeah, no, it's a good. It's 3x3. So I think that is the plan. It's going to be a 3x3 rubric that gives you all the options. We're just going to put like a little sticker on each one of them and start playing with it, and every person will tell us which square he wants to land in. So I like that analogy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Question from Mark. What do you think about supporting unstoppable domains for crypto payments into the Celsius wallet?
Look, the service is good. I mean, we have to do some digging into the security and everything else because, again, it's just another DNS. So if somebody hacks that over, they can basically spoof everything and steal everybody's money. But if we're satisfied with it, layering that on top, so enabling people to basically send money to like a human address, just like we do typing Celsius.network instead of typing 12 digits, right, or whatever into the address. And that is definitely where it's going. But we need to make sure it's safe and secure.
All right, we got our last two questions here. This one's from Brian. He's saying, I'm a U.S. investor in the equity, and I would really like to earn in sell. Is there any hope for accredited investors to earn and sell?
Yeah, I mentioned that several times. We're working on a plan. It has limitations, but if you're accredited and we get this plan launched, you will be able to earn and sell. You can't get it right away, right? It's going to be locked up and so on, but at least you'll be earning. You'll be getting the same benefits as non-US users. But it is only intended currently for accredited investors because of SEC limitations. Or I would say legal limitations, not the SEC limitations, but just legal limitations.
All right, and then last question from Nick here. When are we all moving to Wyoming?
I asked my wife about Wyoming, and she said, "Sure, I'll go ski in the mountains, but I'm not going to be there 12 months a year." So let's see how it develops. I mean, I think right now there's few sprouts. Few people got a banking license, like Kraken and a few others, and the community is just starting to be built out. So let's see what it looks like. And we may find out that Wyoming is going to supplant New York City and become the financial center of the United States. So it's early days, and I think what you're going to see is many other states follow the same rules. So we'll see more and more of this opening towards crypto, towards cryptocurrencies, which will definitely make all of our lives easier.
All right. Right now, Cell Token on the brink of new highs, and that's all the questions we have for today.
Yeah, we hit an all-time high, I think, earlier today before the AMA this morning. And again, it's all has to do with the fact that most of you just say 84 cents, that's not enough. I'm not selling my tokens at 84 cents, right? So the buyers who are coming in just have to pay higher and higher prices if they want any Cell token. So again, more users, more deposits, more of them want to earn and sell. As you saw, we have a record number of people who are earning and sell, right? That percentage just keeps increasing. Results in us and others buying more and more every week. Testament to our flywheel. And the longer the flywheel operates, despite all the stuff that's happening out there, the more people get convinced and decide to either deposit more or open an account or convince their wives or bring their friends or whatever. And again, we don't advertise basically, right? So almost everything we do is you telling your friends that you've been doing this for a year or two, it's working great, and actually sitting down. Like I spend sometimes an hour onboarding somebody, right? It's tedious process. They don't have any ETH, and you got to transfer, and they have to do KYC, and they don't have their driving license and all that stuff. So like we made it hard, right? Almost to join, but the rewards are there after you become a Celsian, and the loyalty of the community, the love, the appreciation, all of that is what's keeping us going. I mean, again, we have a lot of new Celsians, both employees and users, and all of that is what makes it worth it, right? So thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your trust, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone.